Hey folks, hope you're doing well out there. I'm just walking my way down a little trail here that I've been meaning to get widened out for quite some time. And if you've been around the channel, you probably have seen me bumping equipment off these little trees here, and well, it's kind of getting old. So I'm going to go ahead just before the ground freezes up, and I'm going to try to widen things out a little bit. Now it looks pretty wide up there, but down here, certain trees like this one here, it gets in the way, especially when I have equipment that overhangs. And so I'm going to start digging back this bank a little bit, and I'm going to start to fill in areas where every once in a while, as you can see, a tire goes off the trail and then it gets a little bit sketchy because that's downhill. And so I'm going to try to smooth things out a little bit, and that'll make the trail just a little more manageable as I'm taking equipment down here. Same thing here. You can see that big root there. I want to cover all this up. I don't want the equipment to lean when it goes over that, because inevitably it'll lean and then it gets closer to this tree. And as you can see here, I've met this tree a time or two, and so we'll make things a little bit better that way. Also, if you look over here, I have quite the rut being established. A lot of moisture comes out of the ground here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig back this bank with the mini excavator, and that'll just make it so I don't have to hug this tree so much, because just like the previous one, I've definitely touched this tree a time or two with equipment, and that can get costly in a hurry. So we'll pull this back with the mini excavator, and we'll do that while the ground is still nice and moist. It's still late fall here, so we can clean things up before it freezes. And then eventually, probably what I'll do, I'll put a few more logs in. This has worked real well, especially in this wet area. And I'll put some of the soil over top of it. So we'll cut this back just a little bit. And up here, this is a little bit of a headache as well. This is on an inside corner, and I don't have any room to go wide because of that tree. And so I think I'm going to take this thing out, and that way I can scrape back this corner just a little bit so I can make corners with trailers and things like that. Now making my way this way, same thing with this tree. This one's in the way, so we'll take that out. As for this right here, I think I'm going to widen this. I don't know if I'm going to do that today just because I have some background work I got to do. I got to get a wider culvert, but this will get widened eventually. As you can see, it's wet down here, so there's actually a spring that comes out of the hill up here, and then it accumulates here. I have an existing culvert already, but the culvert is not long enough. If it was longer, I would just put more fill in, but I think what I have to do is put a longer culvert in order to widen this out. So that'll be for another day. But I can still work my way up here. This is where it gets especially narrow. If you have a look at that cherry tree on the inside corner, I've clipped that a time or two. That's got to come out, and that'll definitely make things a little bit easier for me. Same thing over here. I might, I don't know if that maple's got to come out or not. I think that's a maple, but otherwise I'll just scrape back the ground a little bit and make it easier for me to navigate. Up this way, I'll leave the white pines because they're nice trees. And I'll widen this out just right here. You see, this thing's been dead for ages. It's probably ready to fall at any moment, but I'm going to help it fall. And this one here we'll take out, and then we'll have a nicer path up that way. And as you can see, if you look down this way, see how it does a bit of a... Well, I'm going to try to straighten that out a little bit just to make it a little easier to navigate. This is especially tricky in the winter. You got a trailer on, because that tree likes to invite you over for a visit. And as I said, I visited it a time or two, and I don't want to do that again. Anyways, there's the mini excavator. We'll get her fired up. I still haven't had a chance to dive into the wiring issue, and so we're still doing this. We're hooking up the power before we get started here, and this is easier said than done with one hand. Come on now, there we go. Get all these leaves out of here before they catch on fire. Okay. Fire up the glow plugs. You see it there? Listen for it. And then it's on idle. It should fire right up. Great machine right here. Takeuchi TB15. I think it's got a 14.5 horsepower Yanmar diesel. That's probably about a mid-90s machine. I bought it used, well used, and it's turned out to be a great investment. It was relatively cheap. I took a bit of a gamble, and it certainly paid for itself several times over with the projects it saved me on. Put it into action again today. Well, I'd say that's a pretty good start. We cut back the bank a little bit. We got rid of some of the brush along this side of the trail. I moved the soil out of the way. I still want to come back through and really grade things out nicely. I also have a few things like that stump and some bigger trees I want to cut out, so the chainsaw will come back in, as will the mini excavator, but I think that'll be for another day. I just want to talk to you a little bit about this thing. This on my bucket is the Piranha Pro, this tooth bar here. This is bolted on. It's custom for my bucket. This is made by BXpanded. If you haven't seen one of these before, these are one of those things that once you get it, you sort of wonder why you went without it for so long. This thing has turned out to make my tractor very versatile, because I can dig in a little bit better, or a lot better than when I just had the smooth edge there. So that is what was helping me along here today. And it's definitely noticeable when you get into some roots, taking out some small shrubs, some brush, you can cut those right off and dig right down, which was quite nice. Now up at this area, we just needed to widen it out. That tree has probably been standing forever, as long as I've been on this property, and I always hesitated taking care of it. I don't like cutting down real dead trees by hand, and the fear is the top will break off and hit me when I can't hear it. And so I ended up just pushing it over with the tractor, which went pretty well. But if you could see inside the cab, I was looking up a lot. The concern with these ones, if there's anything holding back the top of the tree, when you're pushing on it, the top can break off, then it hits the tractor. So in hindsight, I took care of it today with a tractor, but probably this should have been a winch job. But regardless, there it is. So we cleaned this area up. I'll continue to do so. You'll notice it's still sloping a little bit. I might take some of this soil, put it down there on those pines, but as I said, you can only do so much in a day, and I think I'm going to move on to a different project that's a little more time sensitive. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for me here today. I'm going to move on to another project, as I said, but for now, this is a good start. I'm using the materials I have available. This costs me absolutely nothing, and while I'm taking care of a chore, widening trails that I've been talking about doing for years. In a perfect world, if budget was unlimited and, well, I could get a dump truck back here, that's exactly what I'd be doing. The last time I checked, I'm looking at like $600 a load for a dump truck, and, well, the dump truck can't even get close to this location as it is. So that idea is out, because that would require me to cart all that stone with the bucket of that tractor. You imagine how long that would take traveling all this terrain? I'm out. Anyways, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, you know where it goes, down below. As always, I hope you come back and join me. Lots of other stuff going on behind the scenes here, so we'll be sure to get it back on video before long. As always, do me that big favor. If you like this video, give it the old like-a-roo. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see you next time.